Uh, Today marks a very unique milestone in Motorola India's history, where we're launching a particular flagship which redefines what a premium consumer should be looking for. It's a very unique flagship in a way that nobody else kind of offers. And of course, it is the Z2 Force. Now, the Z2 Force is catering to the premium consumers and solving certain problems. But before I get to that, let's talk a bit more about what do premium consumers look for in a smartphone. Now, this is based on a survey that we did. We covered close to about 3,000 consumers across the world. And not really a surprise here, but what we got was, yes, they want better performance, they want apps to launch faster and games to run better, and overall better multitasking, a device that does not slow down. But they also looked for better camera, right? So they're looking for better image quality, and they're looking for a much more snappier camera, if I could put it that way. And the third part, because most of the premium consumers are those who've kind of upgraded, they are looking for, or they expect a smartphone to deliver a lot more than what a normal mid-range device would. And they're looking for certain specific experiences and certain software innovations which redefine their usage of the camera, of the device, making it a lot more easier to use, a lot more user-friendly, and of course helps them on their day-to-day usage. Now, of course, Moto Z2 Force is a flagship and it delivers on all of these, but there is a little something. Right? When you go back to the consumers, after they've bought a premium device and give them about a couple of weeks, largely they come back with two pain points. The first thing that a normal premium consumer would do is, after buying a smartphone, they go and look for which case or which cover to buy to hide their beautifully crafted slim device, which kind of defeats the purpose, because you've really spent too much or quite a bit on a flagship. And the second part, which most people do not consider, is the battery life. Now, battery life, obviously, all of you guys would be using smartphones and you realize the importance of battery life. Unfortunately, over the last few years, we've come to a kind of a compromise where if it's a flagship device, we assume the battery life is not going to be very good. With the Moto Z2 Force, we are hoping that we can change a few things. We don't want a flagship that will let you down when you need it the most. When you're in a hurry and you drop your phone, it should not shatter. When you need the battery the most, when you're traveling or end of the day after a very long day, the last thing you want is the battery life to run out. And this is where, of course, Z2 Force becomes a flagship that will not let you down. How this does is it brings in two industry-defining innovations into a single product. And the name itself actually calls those out. So one, you've got the Z, or the Moto Z. The Moto Z is our series of smartphones which offer modular capabilities. And we introduced this in 2016. And this obviously catered to certain passion points of consumers. So for example, if I like music, I can always put the sound boost mod on, and you've got this great audio which no smartphone can actually offer. Or if somebody else is a movie buff, for example, if you are sitting with your friends and you want to share a video, something funny on YouTube, maybe the next unboxing review, if I said that right, of a device, you've got the projector mod. So things that a smartphone cannot do, which mods give you the capabilities of. Now that's the Moto Z part of it. And then, of course, you've got the Force. Now, Force is a moniker that was given to our ShatterShield. Back in 2015, we introduced the world to a shatterproof display, which was obviously unique, and it lived up to the promise, because right now we are 3 years down, and the people who've got the first ShatterShield are still using those. This kind of redefined how careful you need to be with your devices. You didn't have to hold your flagship device with kid gloves and cover it up. You could actually use the device as is. Now, how this happened is pretty interesting. It runs on a technology from Motorola called ShatterShield. Now, ShatterShield brings in 5 layers into the display itself, which completely redefines how it handles shocks. So, for example, if we break it down, each layer has its own part. So the first layer, the exterior protective lens, is basically a soft layer which takes in all the bumps, the falls, and spreads it to a larger area. The second one is the interior lens. Now this is the one that's guaranteed not to crack or shatter. And the third one is a dual touch layer. Essentially there are 2 touch layers. In case of a very heavy shock, even if one fails, the second one will continue to work. You as a user never really have that downtime. The fourth layer here in our case is a Quad HD AMOLED display which comes in, provides really stunning visuals, great clarity, and of course all the battery saving of an AMOLED display. And all of this is housed in the 5th layer, which is a rigid aluminum chassis which holds the display together. Now this is different from the phone chassis. Right? All of these 5 layers are only there to ensure that this becomes the only display in the world that will not shatter, will not splinter, and can take bumps and falls on an everyday basis. But moving on, probably let's take a look at how ShatterShield compares with other displays. Now in this video what you can see is a normal phone on the left side being dropped on an edge of a rock. Now that's a brutal surface for any glass, not just in phones, but obviously a normal glass cannot handle something like this. While a shatterproof display, because of those 5 revolutionary layers, is able to take this shock, you can see a little flex that comes in. It disperses that shock and does not shatter. And this is guaranteed to kind of protect your phone every single time there's a drop. Along with that, what we've also done is, because it was important that not only is the shatterproof glass there, but the entire phone had to be made rock solid. So what we've got is, versus the first generation Moto Z, we've changed the materials at the back, and now what you've got is a 7000 series aluminum. This is perhaps one of the strongest, most premium materials that you can find in phones. This ensures that it's able to kind of handle shocks, bumps and falls, as well as the front of the phone. And just to ensure that the body is extremely rigid, it can handle that and is built really strong, the entire phone is actually carved out of a single sheet of 7000 series aluminum, which means all your ports are carved in, entire electronics that sits in has been carved out of that single block, and everything is placed in there. Now you imagine you've got a 7000 series aluminum, you've got all your electronics, and then you've got ShatterShield in front, all of it making a single particular phone, which itself is uniquely about just 6.1 mm. And the material, the choices that you've got, the entire diamond cut surface and the polishes ensure that you get something very premium looking while being extremely tough and strong. But here's the thing, right? So I can talk about ShatterShield, but that doesn't really prove anything. So maybe let's try and see if it actually works. Can I have my phone? Okay. Well, that's a fall. That's on carpet, unfortunately. So that doesn't really prove much. But what we can probably do is, there should be something outside for a little harder floor. Maybe let's go outside. Come, let's see that. Come. So what we've got here is, I think this is tile. Oh, okay. Now, on a normal basis, when you're using your phone and you're pulling it out of your pocket and you drop it, right? The phone continues to work. What if you're holding the phone up, you're talking, and then you drop it by accident? What you've got is ShatterShield, which is guaranteed not to break or fall. Come back in, let's see. So yeah, still working, still good, and that is the world's only phone that can handle a fall or a drop and last. Actually, we are so confident about this that you've got about 4 years of guarantee when you have the ShatterShield. It will not, it's guaranteed against drops and falls. Do not try and break it on purpose. That's all I will say. Coming to the next innovation part of it, which is the Moto Mods. Now, we briefly touched upon it. On the first gen, we had a whole bunch of mods that came in. We have pretty high user satisfaction. People love certain mods like the sound boost or the projector or the Hasselblad camera. But to talk a bit more about this, I'll just ask Ishwar to give a quick demo on the mods.
So here we have the first generation mods that Anuj talked about, and these are the second generation mods we had just launched. We had launched the sound boost 2, the gamepad mod, and the turbo battery mod. To talk a bit on the gamepad mod, so this is one of the favorite mods that I use with the Z2 Force, because with the Z2 Force you have a very powerful device, and with the gamepad mod you can take it to the next level from a gaming performance. So the first thing you notice is you got this cool light and the Legion branding that you've got at the back. In the front you've got all the controls that you would require to play most of the games. So you've got 2 analog sticks, a D-pad, and all the buttons. So the gamepad mod is already available for sale at 6,999 across all the leading retail channels and online platform. The other mod that I'm going to talk about right now is the turbo battery mod. So when I kind of plugged the turbo battery mod to the phone, I got over 6,000 mAh of battery power. Basically, the turbo battery mod adds up to 3,500 mAh battery. Not only that, it charges the phone at the same speed as your wall charger, at speeds up to 15 watt. And because it is Moto Mods, basically it is closely linked. So it's like having 2 batteries on the phone, and you can see and monitor both of them on the software. Apart from charging your phone at 15 watt speeds, it can also get charged at rapid speeds up to 30 watt. So basically you have very little downtime, and effectively you can charge the mod and not ever connect your phone to a wall socket and have a true wireless experience. So back to you, Anuj.
Thanks, Ishwar. Yeah, I actually personally love a few of these mods. I end up using them almost on a weekly basis. Like the camera, the battery is always with me, so is the speaker. It's just really great. But that also helps solve a particular problem that we spoke about earlier. So when we spoke about flagships letting you down when you need them the most, we spoke about shattering screens, right? And we've got ShatterShield, guaranteed not to break for 4 years. So that part is sorted. We also spoke about the fact that none of the flagships give you this battery life that people want. And what we did was, a couple of days back, we had a couple of our friends run certain polls, and clearly battery life was something that was coming out as a key pain point. But with mods, we can solve for that. What we will have is every Z2 Force that we will sell in India will come with a TurboPower mod. That essentially means you get an insane 6,200 mAh plus on every Z2 Force. And the good part is, as Ishwar showed, when you want that battery life, you've got insane battery life. And when you don't need that and you're just going out for the evening or just your work day, a normal work day, you have an all-day battery with just the phone alone. And that phone, of course, is a 6.1 mm sleek 143 gram phone, so you hardly feel it when you have that. Having the TurboPower mod actually puts this in an insane category where now, as you can see, none of the flagships, none of the premium devices are even going to come close. And this is the power of mods, where it changes the way you kind of use the phone, and you've got enough power with every Z2 Force that will last day or night. So you've got that part covered with mods, with ShatterShield, but we spoke about a few more things that premium consumers kind of wanted. One was experience, and every Motorola device comes with its set of experiences. Obviously, it gets enhanced when it comes to a premium device like the Z series, And on the Z series, I'd like to talk about 3 key experiences. One is the Moto display. Now, Moto display is extremely unique in the way it handles your notifications. Now, what happens normally is, best case, your phone will have a notification LED, right? And those LEDs glow in different colors if it's a little more, if it's a newer device. But you don't know what that colors are for, or you have to remember what those colors are for. Better than that is what Moto display does is shows you the notifications right then and there. And because consumers look at notifications almost 75 times a day, it saves a lot of time and effort. Now, if you don't like that notification, you can almost dismiss it from the lock screen itself, but you can also have the capability of interacting with the notification right then and there. With Moto Display 2.0, what you've got is quick actions where certain notifications can be interacted in a specific way. For example, if I have a meeting in a particular location, with that meeting notification, I will also get, for example, if the direction is mentioned, address is mentioned, I'll get directions and I can go directly to Google Maps. So that's Moto Display, a very unique way of using your phone screen as well as interacting with the notifications. It's a lot faster, it's a lot more efficient. The next one is Moto Voice. Now, this one is my personal favorite. This is also very interesting in the way it works with works on the device. Now, what the Moto Z2 Force has is far field mics. That basically means that it can pick up your voice from across the room, pretty much like the smart speakers that you see in the market today. Which also means that you've got something in your pocket, it's not left at home, but has the same ability to interact and give you answers. So for example, if I say, "Okay Google," the phone will kind of wake up from across the room and I can actually get to respond. But apart from the Google commands, what we've also got is on the phone processing of certain commands. Now this is a lot more discreet, this is a lot more faster in the way you interact with it, and the command is show me. So for example, if I say show me the weather, now this is a lot more discreet. It will not start reading out the weather to you, but it will just show it on the display. Or for example, if I say show me my calendar, it just brings up the calendar quietly. But what I like is the fact that I can use it to trigger applications really quickly. So for example, if I just want to launch Twitter and I say show me Twitter, and the phone will wake up and launch Twitter as well. From Twitter, if I want to say go to WhatsApp, I just say show me WhatsApp, and without even going back to the home screen, it'll automatically launch WhatsApp as well. So it's faster than Google Assistant because that's a two-step process. Also the fact that this is actually on device, so it works a lot quicker. And the third part of Moto experiences is Moto Actions. So here we've got one button navigation. So basically your fingerprint can do the job of the 3 on-screen displays, apart from being obviously a fingerprint reader. So this one button actually handles the entire navigation of the device, gives you a little more real estate on the screen itself, and of course it's quite intuitive in the way once you get used to it, it's really hard to kind of go back. So that's kind of few of the Moto experiences. Of course, when you get the device, on the home screen there's a Moto shortcut which will take you to all the experiences. You can discover more, switch on and off what you like. It can be completely customized, and that's incredibly great. The next part that consumers were looking for in a premium device was the camera. And from a camera perspective, the Z2 Force actually comes with dual 12MP cameras. Now both of these are dual autofocus pixel cameras, which of course guarantees really quick focus. And along with that, you've got laser autofocus as well. So the entire setup works really well, providing you a really snappy experience. Along with that, the way these two cameras work is one is a color sensor and the other one is bare or monochrome. And when it's kind of taking picture under certain conditions, it'll combine the image from both of these sensors to give you something that is actually high on details. It can capture in a lot more light and hence provide really great images even if the lighting is not perfect. For example, let's take a look at this particular image. What you can see is it's been shot against the sun, and this is unedited by the way, and you can still have the subject which is in focus. You can get all the details of the subject as well as, of course, being able to handle harsh light. Here's another one. Now this is obviously the Grand Canyon, and what you can see is the detailing at different depth levels, right? So what you can see the tree, and you can clearly see the twigs and everything else there. But once you go back into the canyon, you can still see the shadows, and the shadows aren't really pixelating. So you get that kind of a depth coming in from this camera. A couple of local shots. So one is from Nandi Hills, the other one is from a local Starbucks. They normally keep those coffee beans there. So these are again on device, directly transferred. What you can actually get largely depends on the photographer as well and how good they are. And like I said, the secondary camera is a bare or a monochrome one. What that lets you get is really cool looking shots, really artistic compilations, as well as very high contrast ratio. So for those people who are a little bit more into photography, you can use the black and white mode that's there. And you're talking about more into photography, you've got a pro mode as well. So that lets you adjust various camera parameters as per your image to get the best results that you desire. And talking about the front camera comes with a dual CCT flash, which ensures that you have very natural looking selfies, not something that's washed out. So it does capture that. And of course, it is a dual camera setup, which lets you capture beautiful bokehs. You get the depth of field as well as ability to refocus those images once you've shot them. And the camera actually is getting a little smarter with the Z Force. You've got object and landmark recognition. Now these are in beta, but what you can do is point your camera at certain objects and it'll be able to recognize, or at least work towards recognizing those objects and tell you more about them. So for example, if I point them towards my laptop, it'll say that this is a ThinkPad, and it'll also give me more links to go read about it, to probably visit the website. So it becomes a little smarter in the way the camera works. And the camera is also capable of scanning barcodes, QR codes, as well as visiting cards. So if somebody gives you a visiting card, save trees, just take a shot of that. It'll populate your address book, and you can give the visiting card back to that person. Let's not waste paper. So that's about the camera. And of course, it is a flagship. We can't leave without talking about performance. And from a performance perspective, this runs the latest and greatest right now of Qualcomm. It comes with a Snapdragon 835 with 6 microSD card slot as well, which can take cards theoretically up to 2 terabytes. So you've got ample storage, and the Z2 Force will come with Android Oreo out of the box, so you don't have to worry about that. And to sum it up, we did speak about the TurboPower Mod. So of course this comes with TurboPower charging in the box itself. 15 minutes of charge gives you about 8 hours of usage, which is good enough for most people to just drop in 15 minutes while you're kind of talking to somebody, and when you have to go, you've got that. Of course, you always have the TurboPower Mod, which also gives you 8-hour usage in 15 minutes in case you want to use the two separately. And that's it. Now about the Z2 Force. Now Z2 Force will come in the 664 edition. It will come in the super black color, and it will be available starting tonight at 11:59 p.m. Exclusively online on Flipkart. You can also go experience it on Moto Hubs, and we are sure you would love the device, and you can buy the Moto Z2 Force with TurboPower Mod at 34,999 rupees starting tonight. So that's it about the device. Thank you so much for your time again, and see you in the next launch. Thank you.